Hi guys, this is Max here, back again with hopefully another great political video, and today we're going to take a look at the Senate elections that will be held in 2022 here in the United States of America. And this is my first Senate prediction that I make after the Virginia and New Jersey governor's elections. Now, Virginia ended up going to the Republican, and it went to Glenn Youngkin, the Republican nominee, by a larger margin than New Jersey went to Phil Murphy, the Democratic nominee in New Jersey. So let that sink in for a moment. Virginia is less close for the Republicans than New Jersey is for the Dems. And just as a little fun fact, by the way, Phil Murphy is the first Democrat to win re-election in New Jersey for the governor's office since 1977. So that's an interesting fact, by the way. All right. Now, let's look at this. Who's going to win which state? Well, there are a couple of safe states that the Republicans and Democrats are not going to lose, unless their frontrunner was going to, shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. I'll talk about Iowa in a second. Now, Louisiana will be safe, Alabama, Kentucky, Indiana, and I'll talk about Alaska as well immediately. Now, for the Democrats, it's California, Oregon, Washington, New York, Connecticut, my home state of Vermont, unless Governor Scott runs for office. And yeah, I think those should be all the safe states. Now, I believe that Iowa will be safe for Republicans too, because Chuck Grassley is running again, and he's extremely popular. He's not going to lose. In Alaska, I think it's going to be either likely or safe Republican. Alaska's kind of difficult to predict, but it's going to go red for sure, so I'll just put it as safe. Lisa Murkowski probably will. It will be a tight race. She might actually lose to another Republican. We'll have to find out. Now, Illinois, I believe, will be likely Democrat, because the 2022 midterms are going to heavily favor Republicans. And even with Donald Trump, a unpopular losing president, being on the ballot, the Democrats still only won Virginia by 16 points. And that is quite impressive. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Tammy Duckworth was to win by less than 15 points. Other than that, I believe the Republicans will have. Actually, South Carolina is going to be a safe state too, because Tim Scott's really popular, and he's African American, and the black vote is really a firewall for the Democrats. That if he can crack through, then it's basically game over for the Dems. I believe Ohio and Florida will be likely Republican. Ohio's just trending into a rightward direction at a point where it really doesn't make a difference if the incumbent or Rob Portman will run again or not. It's just so much of a right-wing state by now that it's difficult for Dems to win again. And in Florida, Marco Rubio is quite popular. You gotta give him that. So he does have appeal to moderate suburban voters. In Wisconsin, I believe Ron Johnson's going to hold on by a lean margin. He might be kind of a far-right figure for a swing state like Wisconsin, but you do have to give him that. He has energy, he knows how to get out the base, and he has the support from the Waukesha area and from the Driftless area that he needs in order to win again. I believe that Colorado will be likely for the Democrats. It might go down to lean if the Republicans find a formidable candidate, but Colorado's really trending into a leftward direction, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is a likely margin. That's the reason why I'm putting it as such. How could I forget to put Hawaii as a safe blue state? Now, other than that, I believe North Carolina will be leaning Republican. Ted Budd is running a phenomenal campaign. He's a congressman. I think he's going to win, and he has my endorsement, by the way. I'm just a Ted Budd fan. Now, in New Hampshire, I believe Chris Sununu is still going to run. There's a chance, 15%, that he won't run, which wouldn't make sense for him, but I still think that in a red wave, your Republicans are going to win New Hampshire. I believe that, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, those are going to be the closest races of this election cycle. And I believe I'll start with Georgia. It went to Joe Biden very, very narrowly in 2020. The Democrats won both runoff elections, but that's just because Republicans ran a terrible campaign, the two Republican candidates, and also because there was Stop the Steal and lots of other talk about the election. That just wasn't good press for Republicans. But as Herschel Walker being the Republican nominee, I really do see him win that race. And also with the national environment now being so heavily against Joe Biden and the Democrats, I believe it's safe to say that Georgia is a tilt Republican state at this point. at least on the Senate level. I mean, the governorship is something completely different. We'll talk about that in another video. Now, in Pennsylvania, I think we could say that this is difficult to say. First of all, we're going to get to Nevada. Now, I believe Nevada is at the breach of flipping to the Republicans. I am saying Nevada, still Nevada, has very few swing voters. And it might actually even happen that Nevada votes to the right of Arizona, and that Arizona goes blue and Nevada goes red. But Nevada and Arizona, those are two races you really got to do a deep dive into in order to make a final determination. But I do think, yeah, as of right now, based on Nevada's electoral history, and based on simply based on the fact that Catherine Cortez Masto isn't too unpopular as an incumbent, I think she could hold on very narrowly. Arizona, I think before I'm going to go to Arizona, I'll go to Pennsylvania. Now, I've always said it again and again. Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, good candidate for the Democrats. He's probably going to win. But considering the fact that Virginia voted right by 2.5 points, and I know the midterm elections are 1 year off, but we're making this prediction based on how the current situation looks like, I believe that Pennsylvania is actually going to flip to the Republicans. And that the Republicans and their candidate, Sean Parnell, I believe, is going to pull off a narrow victory, simply based on the fact that Pennsylvania is probably the most important swing state out of all. It's always the closest, and it's fairly big. So I believe Pennsylvania, I think, will be a very important state in that election, and I think it's going to go red. Arizona, now Mark Kelly's actually doing what he needs to be doing. He's voting. He's not having a too far left voting record. He is not too conservative so that he could get forced out by another Democrat like Kirsten Sinema. But overall, I think he's doing a good job. But will that be enough? Because in 2020, he had Joe Biden, he had Democratic enthusiasm in general. But if it's going to be a red wave here, it might actually get close. Now, I've not seen any good Republican candidates emerging yet. Now, not any really good ones. So I think Mark Kelly is still in a favorable position. But in a red wave year, assuming the Republicans do find a formidable choice, I think it's actually going to be Tilt R. And then we'd go back to how the Senate was after the 2018 midterm elections. 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. Now, obviously, this is just a prediction as it looks like right now. I am going to make so many more videos on this, and I hope that you also check out the ones of other YouTubers. I can highly recommend God of Politics and Ben's election forecasting. And if you guys like this video, likes, comments, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Let me know your own predictions in the comment section down below. And just as always, guys, have a nice day, and Max out.